High up in the heavens, the Valkyrie plans out her next battle to save mankind. Her opponent is the mythical hero Hercules, a demigod of the people, half-brother of Loki and Ares. Prior to his anointment, Hercules was a scrawny little kid, an ordinary human who had zero abilities or gifts. However, when the Ares attacked his palace, he gulped down the divine elixir, a drink reserved only for the Celestials. It was apparent that he was one of a kind since he survived the transformation. He was an unstoppable force who had to be stopped by Zeus himself. It was then that he was royally acknowledged and welcomed to the threshold of the divine. After several deliberations, the Valkyrie chose someone who was the exact opposite of Hercules, Jack the Ripper. Jack grew up in the buzzing city of London. He was a vagrant kid who had to beg for scraps. His right eye, on the other hand, was able to observe the inner emotion and aura of people. He was able to distinguish people by the color of their inner aura. Jack was a lonely kid who was raised in a brothel. His mother had to make ends meet in order to survive and protect Jack. Even though Jack knew the occupation of his mother, he loved her regardless, since her aura was the purest. One lamentable day, his mother received bad news and flipped out. She cursed Jack and told him how she wished he would have died in the womb. In a fit of rage, she hurled a book at him, badly injuring his face and leaving him bloody and perplexed. That was the first time he saw her aura change to something sinister. In bewilderment, he approached her and started choking the life out of his mother. He then sensed a shift in emotion from anger to fear. That was when he first encountered the sweetness of death. Once he experienced the thrill of murder, Jack craved more and went on a hunting spree. His next victim? The father who abandoned him and his mother. On that day, a new killer was born. Someone capable of fighting the mighty Hercules. No one believed Jack could pull it off. His entrance and introduction seemed mundane and his divine weapon feeble. According to the calculation of Zeus, he estimated that it would end in a jiffy. Jack tried demonstrating the sharpness of his weapon on a metal rod, but Hercules wasn't fazed at all by the demonstration. Before the match began, Jack ran away and arranged a personal tea party. As Hercules approached, he noticed a string and tore it down. It was all part of Jack's elaborate trap. Sadly, none of them were able to damage Hercules' body. Realizing that Jack was outmatched, Hercules decided to end the match there, and then Jack tried to escape from Hercules and had his divine weapon broken in the process. Finally growing desperate, Jack threw a punch of knives at Hercules, inflicting serious damage after catching him off guard. Hercules was speechless and in disbelief. He failed to comprehend what had occurred. Jack informed him how he lied about his divine weapon and took advantage of his gullibility. He debriefed Hercules of his actual divine weapon, and it was his bag, which was able to create divine weapons. Anything which is smaller than the bag can be conjured on the spot. Feeling cheated, Hercules' anger grew worse. However, Jack was not one to care for emotions, nor was he one to sympathize. He kept unleashing his fury one dagger at a time, refusing to give Hercules a moment to catch his breath. Some were blocked, others hit their target. Hercules was caught in a pinch, but he mustered the strength and walked towards Jack dripping blood. In close combat, Hercules was the obvious winner. Fortunately, Jack had planned this instance and had prepared a countermeasure to deflect his attack. After witnessing Jack's resolve, Hercules initiated his secret power. His tattoos engulfed his body and his power was boosted enormously. Blue flames roared at Jack as they chased him down. He got a clean hit and slammed Jack to the wall. But Jack wasn't one to give up easily and kept throwing everything he had. This was the first time Hercules felt bodily damage in his life after being anointed. He had no choice but to endure the pain since he had no shield. Just as he was about to catch Jack, the Ripper started to walk on air. His strategy to place strings around the arena paid off. Using the strings, he managed to propel the daggers at high speeds. They started bouncing off and creating peculiar patterns. Hercules was unable to avoid or block the attacks and began to sustain even more damage. He finally decided to blow them away using his wind powers. The pressure of the wind countered Jack's attack, and one of his knives shattered his eyepiece. His magical hidden eye was revealed. He was then able to view the real emotion of Hercules, and he found that it was pure. Jack needed a break and retreated to the Big Ben to focus on his strategy. But Hercules had other plans and devastated the tower with a powerful strike. Before Jack fell to the ground, he threw the clock at Hercules, who tried to block the attack but had his hand cut off. Zeus almost got up from his seat out of bewilderment. Hades and the two crows were flabbergasted. Everyone was puzzled at what they witnessed. Everyone besides the Valkyrie, who knew the truth all along. When she requested one of the Valkyries to assist Jack, the Valkyrie refused, so Jack had to take matters into his own hands. Metaphorically and literally, his actual divine weapon were his gloves. They are capable to change anything he touches into divine weapons themselves, capable of harming a demigod or causing mass destruction. Hercules wasn't one to cry over spilled milk or amputated arms. He tied it down and continued to fight. He threw his weapon into the air and began to conjure malevolent spirits. Hellhounds from the dark realm beckoned his call. They were loyal guards of Hades' fortress. They fused with Hercules and bestowed their power unto him. Hercules was now empowered through Zeus and Hades, one above and one below. Although he gained new powers, he still wasn't able to catch up to Jack. However, even if one hit landed, the devastation would have dismantled Jack's entire body. Things seemed to change. Jack was now on the defensive. All he could afford to do was dodge and evade. He tried blocking a punch using his divine weapon to create a solid shield. But at last, Hercules landed a brutal jab, which sent shivers down Jack's spine. Fearing what may happen, Jack tried to escape through the air. But Hercules gained more speed and was able to catch up to Jack and knock him down straight to the spike. Jack seemed defeated and morbid. He got up and, in what seemed as a last attempt, turned his coat into a divine weapon. He was able to slice through a building. As soon as it fell, Jack used Hercules as a trampoline and leaped through the building, leaving Hercules to contend with the falling tower. Jack finally smirked after gaining his deserved victory. He was left standing and Hercules was left crushed under the rubble. Before the host could announce the victor, a heroic stand was made by Hercules. He rose from the ashes like a redeemed phoenix. After all this, Jack could sense that his heart remained pure and free of vengeance. The finale was close approaching, and they both entered what seemed like a brawl. No more fancy tricks, a head-on clash with all their might. A battle of endurance and gusto. It was obvious Jack didn't fare well in close quarters. But Jack was determined and refused to stay down. He tried his best to tire out Hercules and hoped to catch him off guard. His appearance grew pale, and he seemed at the end of his rope. Hercules appreciated his courage and was prepared to finish the battle once and for all. Out of nowhere, Jack had pierced through his skin using his bare hands. During the last stages of the fight, he was pretending to seem exhausted and was coating his hands in blood, which he turned into divine weapons to massacre the legendary demigod. The match was officially over, and Hercules rejoiced. His people wept and cursed his killer. The Ripper had wrested yet another soul. Even though he saved humanity and helped them gain victory, they booed him and threw rocks. They were all disgusted by his methods and were furious. Nevertheless, Zeus was the one who took it worse. His second loss to humanity left him embittered and livid.